Before we start, take a second, breathe in, and open your heart. Have you ever met someone who completely changed the way you see love? Someone whose words or presence stirred something deep inside of you? Not lust, but something real, something sacred. So many people think attraction is only about looks or chemistry. But what if I told you that true attraction begins long before a touch, long before a glance? What if I told you that the most powerful way to draw someone closer has nothing to do with appearance, and everything to do with how you make them feel? Today, we're going to uncover truths that most people never talk about, because this message isn't about games, manipulation, or physical desire. It's about emotional connection, spiritual energy, and the kind of love that aligns with God's design. If you've ever asked yourself, what really makes a woman feel connected, safe, and drawn to a man, this video will open your eyes in ways you don't expect. You'll discover how emotional safety, spiritual alignment, and pure respect can awaken a level of intimacy deeper than anything physical. This message isn't just about relationships. It's about becoming the kind of man or woman who carries peace, purpose, and purity in their heart. And when you do, the right person won't just notice you, they'll feel you. So stay with me until the end of this video, because by the time we finish, you'll understand what true connection really means, and how to build it in a way that honors both love and God. Let's begin. When a woman asks a question that seems bold, personal, or unexpected, it's easy for a man to misread her intentions. Many men jump to conclusions assuming her curiosity is driven by physical desire or interest. But more often than not, what she's really revealing is connection, comfort, and trust. Curiosity is not corruption, it's communication. When a woman begins to open her world through questions, she's quietly expressing something far more meaningful than attraction. She's showing that she feels safe enough to let her guard down. In a world where women constantly have to protect their emotions, their boundaries, and their hearts, that safety doesn't come easily. It's earned through consistency, presence, and authenticity. When a woman asks certain questions, she's testing more than your confidence, she's testing your spirit. She wants to know whether you're a man who listens with your heart, who values truth, who carries peace rather than pride. Her curiosity isn't always about what you do, it's about who you are. She's watching how you respond, not just to her words, but to her vulnerability. And that's what most men miss. They mistake curiosity for chemistry, when in reality, she's trying to see if you can handle the weight of her emotional world without using it against her. Every woman's heart is wired by God with a longing to connect. That longing is sacred. It's not weakness, it's divine design. She was created to nurture, to feel, to love, and to understand. So when she asks about your dreams, your struggles, your faith, or your past, she's doing what her heart naturally does, seeking connection through understanding. Those moments aren't opportunities to show off or flirt. They are moments to show your soul. They are quiet invitations to authenticity. If a man listens with patience and responds with truth, he will awaken something far deeper than attraction. He will awaken trust. And trust for a woman is the foundation of all desire. When she begins to trust you emotionally, she becomes more open, more curious, and more drawn to your presence. This is why curiosity is not a sin, it's a signal. It tells you that your presence is stirring something meaningful inside her. But how you handle that moment determines whether it grows into something pure or fades into regret. A man who lacks discernment might take her openness as permission. A man with wisdom, however, recognizes it as a moment to protect her heart, not pursue his pleasure. When a woman starts asking more personal questions about what makes you happy, what scares you, what you believe in, she's not just making conversation. She's trying to see whether you live by principle or impulse, whether you stand for something or fall for everything, whether your faith is something you speak about or something you live by. Her curiosity becomes a mirror, showing her what kind of man she's dealing with. She's asking, can I trust you with my truth? Will you listen without judgment? Will you see me as more than my appearance? And if you answer those questions not just with words, but with your actions, she'll see something rare, a man whose strength is rooted in gentleness. A godly man understands that curiosity can be sacred ground. He doesn't rush to take advantage of it. He treats it with honor. He realizes that every question she asks is a door to her heart, and doors like that should never be forced open. They should be welcomed with grace. When a woman asks something personal, you have two choices: to feed her curiosity with ego, or to guide it towards something deeper with truth. When you choose truth, you plant seeds of respect. And from respect, passion grows naturally, not out of lust, but out of love that is rooted in reverence. This is why a woman's curiosity often reveals connection, not corruption. The world tries to convince men that every question, every smile, every laugh means interest or invitation. But spiritually mature men know better. They see past the surface. They understand that emotional safety is a woman's deepest form of intimacy. Long before she ever desires your touch, she desires your understanding. Long before she gives you her body, she wants to give you her trust. And if you can hold that trust with care, you'll build something unbreakable, something that can outlast temptation, distance, and time. In every godly relationship, curiosity plays a role. It's how two people learn one another's hearts. It's how faith and love grow side by side. When a woman asks about your prayer life, about what keeps you up at night, or about what you dream of for your future, she's not prying, she's pursuing meaning. And when you answer with openness and humility, you're not just talking, you're building connection through honesty. That kind of connection is what true intimacy is built on. It's what turns two strangers into partners, two hearts into one union blessed by God. So the next time a woman's curiosity catches your attention, don't see it as temptation. See it as an opportunity to reflect the man you are becoming, a man who values her enough to be honest. A man who listens more than he speaks. A man who leads with his spirit before his body. When you approach her curiosity with reverence, you protect not only her heart but your own. Because every moment of emotional connection is a test of your integrity. The question isn't, what does she want from me? But what kind of man will I be in this moment? And here's the beautiful truth. When a woman realizes that your response is pure, that your heart is anchored in purpose, she will admire you more deeply. She'll feel drawn to you in ways she can't explain. It's not manipulation, it's divine chemistry. It's what happens when respect meets desire, when trust meets attraction, when faith meets love. That's the kind of bond that doesn't fade when the emotions settle. It's the kind that lasts because it's built on something sacred. So never fear a woman's curiosity. Instead, understand it, honor it, respond with truth and humility. Because in her questions, she's giving you a glimpse into her heart, and the way you handle that moment says more about your character than anything you could ever say. A godly man doesn't just attract a woman through appearance, he draws her spirit through his peace, his purpose, and his patience. And when that kind of connection happens, it transforms not just the relationship, but the people within it. In the end, a woman's curiosity is one of the most beautiful gifts God gave to human connection. It's not something to be feared or misused, it's something to be cherished. Because behind every question is a hope that maybe. This time, she'll find someone who listens. Someone who cares, someone who makes her feel safe enough to be fully herself. And when a man answers that hope with faith, love, and integrity, he doesn't just touch her mind or her body, he touches her soul. A woman's desire is not something that begins with touch, it begins with trust. Long before she ever feels drawn to a man physically, her emotions have already been stirred in the quiet spaces of her heart and mind. That's why emotional intimacy always comes before physical desire. What draws a woman and isn't the perfection of a man's appearance or the smoothness of his words. It's the presence of his heart, the steadiness of his spirit, and the sincerity in how he sees her. When she feels emotionally seen, she begins to open up layer by layer. When she feels heard, she starts to relax. When she feels understood, she becomes drawn. And when she feels safe, her heart begins to rest. That's the invisible journey of attraction most men overlook. You see, the world often tells men that physical connection is the gateway to emotional intimacy. But for women, it's almost always the other way around. Before her body can respond to you, her heart must trust you. Before she gives herself to you, she must believe you won't break what she's offering. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. She's built to protect her heart because deep down, she knows that real intimacy isn't about pleasure, it's about peace. It's about finding someone who values her soul before her body, who pursues her with gentleness instead of greed, who treats her as a person to love, not a prize to win. When a man learns to connect emotionally, everything changes. His words begin to carry warmth. His presence becomes grounding instead of overwhelming. His attention becomes nourishment instead of pressure. That kind of connection creates a sense of belonging that no physical act could ever replace. When a woman feels emotionally safe, she begins to desire, not out of lust, but out of trust. Her desire becomes a reflection of her confidence in you. It's her heart's way of saying, I feel secure enough to be vulnerable. And that kind of vulnerability is sacred. It's not something you can rush, demand, or manipulate. It's something you earn through patience, consistency, and emotional maturity. A man who rushes intimacy reveals that his focus is on himself. A man who nurtures emotional connection first shows that his focus is on her well-being, her comfort, and her peace. And that's what creates deep attraction, the kind that doesn't fade when the thrill is gone. It's the kind that grows stronger with time because it's rooted in something eternal. Emotional intimacy is the soil where real passion grows. It's where love takes root and where loyalty is born. When a woman knows that she can be herself around you, that she doesn't have to hide her emotions, her fears, or her dreams, she begins to associate your presence with safety. Safety is the secret language of a woman's heart. The moment she feels safe, she begins to bloom. And that's when desire begins to flourish naturally. The man who learns to protect that feeling, to keep her heart safe, becomes the man she desires most deeply. This kind of intimacy doesn't happen through words alone, it's communicated through actions. It's in how you listen without interrupting, how you remember small details she thought you'd forget, how you show kindness even when you disagree. It's in your patience when she's quiet, Your gentleness when she's emotional, your steadiness when she's uncertain. Emotional intimacy is about presence, being there not just physically, but mentally and spiritually. When a man brings that kind of presence into a woman's life, she feels cherished. And when she feels cherished, her entire being begins to respond in ways that are beyond the physical. A woman's heart was designed by God to connect on a soul deep level. That's why the most fulfilling relationships are the ones that mirror the divine, where love is patient, kind, and selfless. When you connect with her heart first, you honor that divine design. You become not just a man she's attracted to, but a man she trusts with her entire being. And in that trust, something beautiful happens. She begins to love freely without fear. Her attraction grows out of admiration, respect, and emotional closeness, not out of infatuation or impulse. Most men think that attraction is built through power or confidence, but for a woman, it's built through understanding. You can have strength, status, or charm, but if she doesn't feel emotionally connected, it all fades. On the other hand, a man who makes her feel emotionally secure will always stand out, because she's not drawn to perfection. She's drawn to peace. She doesn't need a man who has it all together. She needs one who makes her feel that together they can face anything. When a man leads with emotional depth, he transforms the atmosphere around him. His presence feels safe, not suffocating. His words uplift, not manipulate. His energy calms her fears instead of triggering them. And that kind of energy draws her in, not because she's weak, but because she's designed to respond to love that feels stable, sincere, and safe. That's what real masculinity looks like. It's not dominance. It's devotion. It's not control, it's care. It's not seduction, it's spiritual connection. When a woman feels that kind of emotional intimacy, physical desire becomes a reflection of it, not a replacement for it. Her attraction becomes an extension of her emotional safety. Her affection becomes worshipful, not worldly. That's how God intended love to be. A union where body and spirit align, where passion is holy because it's born out of purity and trust. The world has distorted that truth, teaching people to chase the physical and neglect the emotional. But in God's design, emotional intimacy is the fire that keeps passion alive long after beauty fades and excitement cools. So if you want to understand what truly draws a woman to you, don't focus on impressing her. Focus on understanding her. Don't rush to touch her body. Reach for her heart. Don't try to win her over with charm, win her over with consistency. Because when you invest in emotional intimacy, you build a foundation that no temptation can shake. A woman's desire is never random. It's a reflection of how she feels in your presence. When she feels valued, she responds. When she feels safe, she opens. When she feels loved, she gives her all. And that's the secret most men never learn. Emotional intimacy isn't something you do to get closer. It's something you become. It's choosing to be a man of integrity, empathy, and patience. It's choosing to love her the way Christ loves the church, with gentleness, sacrifice, and understanding. That kind of love doesn't just awaken desire, it awakens devotion. It makes a woman feel like she's not only loved but cherished, not only desired but respected. And when a man builds that kind of emotional intimacy, he doesn't just win her body, he wins her soul. When you take a step back and look at everything we've discussed, it all points to one truth. Real connection is not about power, control, or performance. It's about presence. It's about understanding that the deepest form of attraction between a man and a woman begins in the heart, grows through the mind, and blossoms in the spirit. Everything that happens on the outside is just a reflection of what's already been planted within. When you treat a woman with respect, when you make her feel safe, when you listen with your soul instead of your ego, you awaken something sacred inside her. And when she feels emotionally seen, she will give you a level of devotion that no charm or strategy could ever create. God designed love and attraction to be a reflection of his own heart, pure, powerful, and purposeful. When you learn to connect emotionally before physically, you honor that design. You build something that doesn't fade when the thrill wears off, because it's not based on desire alone, it's based on depth, trust, and faith. That's the kind of love that outlasts temptation, the kind that strengthens over time instead of crumbling under pressure. A man of faith doesn't chase women, he builds a connection rooted in purpose. And a woman of worth doesn't give herself away to anyone, she responds to the man whose spirit aligns with hers. If you want to build a bond that lasts, remember this: what you feed grows. Feed her spirit with encouragement. Feed her mind with honesty. Feed her heart with consistency. Let her see that your love isn't conditional, that your intentions aren't selfish, and that your strength isn't rooted in dominance but in devotion. Because when you love in that way, you don't just attract a woman, you attract a blessing. In the end, emotional intimacy is the real secret. It's the invisible glue that holds everything together. It's what keeps a woman's heart loyal, her trust unshaken, and her love alive. The physical fades, the excitement cools, but what you build in the heart endures forever. That's what God intended love to look like. Two souls growing together in patience, humility, and faith. So as you leave today, don't chase what's temporary. Build what's eternal. Be the kind of man whose love brings peace, whose presence brings safety, and whose life points others back to God's design for true intimacy. Because in a world full of counterfeit connections, the man who loves with purpose will always stand out. And finally, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for giving your time, your focus, and your heart to this message. It takes real humility to listen, to reflect, and to grow. May God bless you with the wisdom to build relationships that honor Him and the courage to lead with love, patience, and faith. Remember, the strongest man is not the one who conquers others, but the one who conquers himself and chooses love over lust, truth over temptation, and faith over fear. Thank you for listening, for learning, and for allowing your heart to be stretched. May you go out and build the kind of love that inspires others to believe that godly connection still exists. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next message.